Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of our Justice and Pieces guest speaker series. Today, we are joined by Amanda and Jeanette. Amanda, maybe we could start with you. First of all, thank you both of you for taking the time to speak with me today. Amanda, maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself first, then we'll go over to Jeanette after.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for having us. I started my career as a teacher, working in Ontario, but went back to school in 2012 as a second career to become a paralegal. I got my paralegal diploma from a private college at the time because Algonquin only had a 2-year program at the time. So then I was able to get licensed by 2013 and started my own practice fairly soon after that, and focused at the time on small claims, landlord and tenant, and human rights mostly. But started teaching in 2017 at Algonquin, part time. Um, it actually was one of the most rewarding times in my career because, working with such bright minds from my diverse background, you really learn a lot from your students and not just, teaching in the classroom, but being able to learn from them and, share your experience with them as well. So it's not just like passing on that knowledge, it's that reciprocal process. So that engagement with them and, seeing how they, progress throughout the semester. And then I was able to teach in the third semester. So then you can see their growth that they've done um, as they've gone on throughout the program. So it's been a very rewarding time at Algonquin, over 8 years, part time there, and just a very good experience for me.
Now, speaking of that growth, I guess we can go over to Jeanette there, and then maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a newly graduated paralegal from Algonquin. I have yet to do my licensing. I'm doing that this summer. And my background is in healthcare. I've been a paramedic and I'm a nurse, and I've been actively on the front lines for over 20 years. I do have a family, so those type of hours were definitely something that was challenging for me. But community service has always been something that is just part of who I am. And finding out that there was a paralegal program, because I'd always had an interest in the law, was fantastic. And the fact that Algonquin had a graduate program so that I could do everything in an intense program over a short period created access to me being able to facilitate that type of education. And it was a wonderful program. There's so many people that gain so much from it.
Yeah, so I guess let's get right into it then. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
or sorry, it still is. I mean, it's not over today, but it's gone that route there a couple weeks ago that this is the last group or one of the last groups, and well, the one that just started obviously will be the one that will finish up, at least tentatively. So Amanda, maybe we'll start with you. What was that like? I mean, I can't imagine for all the faculty to just be told. Um, it's over or it's almost over. And what was that kind of shock for you and for the Algonquin community?
Algonquin has such a strong paralegal program that it was very shocking to me. I was like, "What do you mean you're closing the paralegal program?" Because it's not like they've ever had an attendance issue. Like they always have a full program, and they're graduating students that are the second highest pass rate on the licensing exam because it's such a strong program. Very popular program too. So the closure is going to be felt throughout the entire Ottawa area because, access to justice is such a huge thing. We need these paralegals to fill that access to justice gap. And, slowly we're going to start seeing, I think, more and more issues in our legal community because of the lack of paralegals that we're now graduating.
Now, Jeanette, maybe from your perspective, obviously as being a recent graduate, what were your thoughts or what did you find out? And the impact, I mean, because I mean, for someone who's recently graduated, you're missing out on the extension of, the placements and the jobs and, those departments that are, I mean, I guess they're still around, or I don't know if it's other people at the college, but what are your thoughts on that?
I honestly think that the Ottawa community is being devastated by this, and will continue to be so because, as Amanda said, it's an access to justice issue. Paralegals have a place. It is not the same place as lawyers. It is not the same place as legal assistants. That program has also been cut. There's over 30 programs that cut. What I can see right now is I couldn't have done this program in any other way. And that was something that will be life-changing for me because now I will have the ability to work in an arena that is not 12 hours and overnights and, all these different things that my medical career, dictated that my career needed to be. But like so many international lawyers coming, trying to just give back in the way that they're so knowledgeable and skilled and, so many people that have graduated from various degrees because it is a graduate program at Algonquin, but have access to just becoming something that they wouldn't have had in any other way in a long program, or even cost wise, right? Community colleges have a lower price point than a lot of private colleges. And I think that this impact will be felt for a lot of the community members and even legal professionals will definitely feel it.
Yeah, so on that then, Amanda, I mean, I actually spoke to maybe it was one of your students actually, Stephanie, a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying she was on CBC and she was all happy about getting that opportunity, but not, under the conditions there of talking about what's happening. But one of the points that she brought up, and again, I think Jeanette also mentioned it, is, well, if not for Algonquin, the closest English-speaking public college that offers a paralegal program, I believe is in Belleville, Loyalist, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I've skipped something over. Actually, somebody reached out from that college to me, and I'm like, oh, there's a college in Belleville, because otherwise, I think it's Peterborough and Durham. And what Stephanie brought up was, well, if you're going to go out to the GTA, essentially,
Mhm.
are you? I mean, we don't have a good hockey team this year, at least, but are you going to come back to Ottawa, and then or are you going to plant your flag outside or in a different place in Ontario? So I don't know if you have your thoughts on that, um, and having a presence in the community needed in terms of a paralegal college.
For sure. I think yes, that isn't it. That would be a thing. People leaving Ottawa to go do the program elsewhere. But I find that there's a lot of people that have families that wouldn't have that opportunity to leave the city to go do the paralegal program. A lot of second career, a lot of parents. So they don't have that opportunity to leave. So I think some people will, yes, they'll go and leave the city and take it elsewhere. But I think it will hurt a lot of people that want to go into this field, but now it's a sticking point. I can't leave Ottawa. My family's here, my kids are here. So then they're going to be retraining and doing something else. So I think we're going to miss out on a lot of strong candidates that could be great legal um, advocates in this community because of the lack of the program now.
And anything that you'd like to add there, Jeanette? I mean, because you said, this was the only way you could do it.
Yeah.
So what else there kind of impacts,
I
the
just think really this is fundamentally an inaccess to justice that's being created for our national capital. We should be leading from the front and promoting justice to our communities and the people that live here. And this is not that.
So now, Amanda, I mean, I guess you had to pivot, right, from 8 years at Algonquin. So how did you pivot? What did you decide to do in light of this news?
Well, partnering with Jeanette was the biggest one. She's such a go-getter and has so many great business ideas. So partnering with her was my pivot. Yeah, to, what can we do to bring that, affordable legal care for these people in Ottawa? And how can we help these newly graduating paralegals, to support them and help, foster them into the legal field as well.
So how did that come about, Jeanette? What's the connection or where did the idea, how long has it sort of been marinating? Was this kind of like a 3-year plan that's now been moved up, or maybe you can give us some insight?
Um, Just and fair, which is what we've decided to kind of pursue in order to try to bridge some of this gap, is a paralegal firm. It started with, of course, an idea because I have a zillion ideas all the time. But I was Amanda's student and we got on. We had a lot in common. She's a phenomenal, phenomenal teacher. And um, when I was thinking about how is it that I can actually go into practice without a license, how can I do that? I needed to partner with someone who had a license so that we could work together under their license. With my medical background, I've started doing some medical legal consulting work. And so that we were able to do that kind of as a joint venture coming from different backgrounds and providing things like that. But we wanted to expand into more offerings with what it is. So there's like education. We wanted to do a mentee situation so that we could really not just like the whole idea behind Just and Fair is that we're not just providing you a legal service. We are educating you. We are empowering you. We are standing beside you and leading you and guiding you, but so that you walk away with what you needed from it. And that might not necessarily be a bill. It might not necessarily be a win. It might not necessarily be any of those things. It might just be education. It might just be feeling like you know something you didn't before and that you feel more capable. And I don't know. It's just I needed to find a way to give back, and I just found Amanda was such a phenomenal person, and like I said, teacher, but also like she's a great advocate, and she has really similar values to me. So I reached out to her and just said like, I have an idea, and I'd love to have you involved. And so we spoke about it some more, and then with Algonquin closing, it just seemed like the universe was just like, just do it, we need it. So here we are.
So I don't know if this is for Amanda or Jeanette or both of you, but the firm's called Just and Fair, right? And I know you touched on it a little bit there, Jeanette. But what kind of came about the reason for calling it that? And um, I mean, I don't know if you have different perspectives on it, but I'll start with you, Amanda.
Uh, the name is all Jeanette. She said it to me, and I'm like, oh, I like that. So to me, it really shows my values. I I think that the legal field is very confusing, and so many people are trying to self-rep. So just trying to get access to justice out there for these people, and just being fair, being just and fair to them. So as soon as she said the name, I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That like really, resonated with me with how I, have my value system. And so, yeah, so Jeanette came up with a name all on her own. It was brilliant.
So I guess then Jeanette, then what kind of gave you that inspiration, and then going and pitching the idea to Amanda? I mean, it's pretty bold, I would say. I mean, I have students, right, that they're once they're finished, and I think you said you're not yet licensed yet. They're already you already have this idea, and you're like, let me go back to my former professor and say, hey, would you like to partner up? I mean, the questions I get is like, do you have a reference letter for me, JP, or can you help me find a placement? So, I mean, it's quite the sort of the initiative there. So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about it.
Um, I think when I was in my first semester, I had already completed all the paperwork so that I could write my licensing exam. I am not really someone that kind of goes with any kind of, I'm always forward thinking. And maybe by second semester, I was like, I'm going to start my own business. I need to just do things differently.
Mhm.
And the more I continued on with my education and the more I saw, I just felt there was such a gap. And there's just a place that, we could land where we're offering services that aren't just about making money, but they are about making a difference and actually promoting justice and access to it in ways that other people might not necessarily be doing. And I don't know. I fearlessness. I just felt like it was a good idea. And I felt like Amanda was the one. So I lucked out when she said yes.
Yeah, so Amanda, what sort of made you make that? I mean, obviously pushed a little bit with Algonquin there, but what kind of said, look, I want to go back and um, partner up with Jeanette, Justin Fair, and launch this rather than any other options you could have had. What kind of pushed you over and said, let's go and do this?
I think when you connect with someone and you have the same values and you have the same viewpoint on things, that it just makes it right. So we connected right away, even back when I was her teacher, just as friends, because we have so much in common. Our values are so similar, and we see things the same way. So we both have that same view for the company. And as soon as she pitched it to me, I'm like, that's brilliant. That's exactly how I think. That's exactly my value system. So, like, for me, it was a no-brainer. She's such a go-getter. She's such a good-hearted person. She's who you want to have representing you, because she will fight in your corner and have your back.
So any plans there, any areas as you said you wanted to focus on some that aren't necessarily like kind of pro bono or I guess quasi pro bono, I think is the term there. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, Jeanette, and kind of the clients that you're looking for and the services that you're looking to provide.
Well, because Amanda is an educator and she's so well educated and has so much experience already, we're so fortunate that we really already have a background to help anybody that comes our way. With my medical background, SABS and LAT and WSIB are very natural fits for me. I look at the law from an intersection of medicine and I see things that people just wouldn't normally or necessarily see. So we will end up, I'm sure, landing in that area at some point. But I think really, as I said, we're just fortunate with so much that Amanda already is coming with that we can really, advocate for people and advocate with people and get them what they need, regardless of the avenue that they're fighting in, or just educate them.
Now, Amanda, in terms of obviously getting things started, I mean, any advice there for um, others who may be looking at, well, whether it's faculty, whether it's students, whether it's people coming out of associate kinds of or junior paralegal positions. What did you learn in terms of then getting this off the ground? And then I'll go to you afterwards as well, Jeanette. I'm sure you have some insights as well of, okay, we have this idea, we have this really cool name. We have the clients that we're looking for and the areas we kind of are going to practice in, but what sort of takes that and now says, okay, here are the first five things that we got to do to get our practice going.
Networking is huge. Just getting your name out there, going to events, social media. So, like, um, I'm doing up CPD courses, so courses, paralegals can take. So one thing I wanted to do is, like, what is the need? Where are people finding that they're not getting information? What do people need to learn? So, I put out a survey on LinkedIn and tried to get some feedback from other paralegals and licensing candidates of where would you like a course to be in, like what topic, to see, where the need is, what are people missing out on, and just to take that feedback and then build from it. So with my education background, producing a CPD course on a variety of topics is easy for me. So love teaching. So that's that's something that I've been really focusing on right now is the education aspects because it's what I love to do, teaching. So yeah, just getting that feedback to me that's important. So networking, getting feedback from others, finding where those areas are that are not being serviced. So to me, that's key.
Jeanette, how about yourself? What's your perspective on that?
As far as building a business,
Yes, like what
um,
have you learned already and sort
I
of
learned to code. I like, I'm not a computer person, and I coded our website, and I'm so proud of it. I did not think I was going to do that, but I just couldn't get what I wanted any other way. So sleepless nights and learning to code, but I think it's just honestly, when you are driven by something as a passion project, you just figure it out. And when what you don't know, you find out. And if you need to talk to someone, you resource and you reach out and you get community feedback and you build based on need instead of just based on, a crazy idea or a desire, because it's not about me, it's about need, right? So we want to continue to have the involvement of our legal professionals and the community, and I think that's going to be it. I mean, we if we can all just come together as a profession and understand that there are roles and spaces for everyone to occupy, we can really provide the community with what they need in a far better way than we have been. And I would like to see that. So,
now, Amanda, I guess in this times I was one of the things that's unique, obviously, in Ottawa that certainly differently than from like the GT is the English and French, right? I mean, you can go across the Hull, I think at the casino, if I'm not mistaken, and I think when I was 18, you can go to Quebec there very easily. But
it's,
but but how? I mean, much in terms of client base is that that community that's different there from a lot of other areas in Ontario for paralegals. I mean, I believe there is the only French public college. And maybe the only French college period now that's offering a paralegal program.
yeah.
Is that important in terms of servicing the Ottawa community?
I mean, totally is important to have that have the French ability. So that's why we have you know we're getting contacts and building relations with people that are able to translate and represent in French. Um, I personally I can't do French. I couldn't represent someone in French. My French isn't um, good enough to
Yeah, I was gonna say, come see, come saw is my French, as I always tell.
same. Same. So it's just you need to know where your weaknesses are, and French is a weakness for me. So it's just building those connections with people that could represent in French. So when you do have the client that comes in, you are able to um, have someone that can assist them with it.
Jen, any thoughts? I don't know if you speak any better French than the two of us here, but
I do not. But I do think that it is definitely something that being in Ottawa is critical because there are so many different people that come and live here and work because they're bilingual or they're francophone. So we have reached out already and have some contacts at La Cité, which is the French paralegal program, because it's not just about direct translation. Some of the way that they use the laws and the way that they learn the laws and the way that they speak the law are just different. So we are looking at making sure we can find people that are better at it than us, because that is access to justice and we're about promoting it, but we also are not about to probably learn another language in the next, 6 to 8 months. So sometimes knowing what you don't know is just as important as knowing what you do know.
now on that, Amanda, I'm sure like over the years you've had many students that have come through at Algonquin. And what in terms of guidance there, and now you're going to start or have started your partnership here. In terms of what do you find in the community there in Ottawa? Are there a lot of opportunities, government kind of work? Where are kind of paralegals once finishing the programs going to and the kind of work, or are they leaving Ottawa as we were talking about earlier? Any perspective you have from just connecting with your old students and seeing what's going on?
I find it such a wide range. Even when I think back to my class when I graduated back in 2013, I think only a couple are actually practicing still. Um, some went back to their first career, and some are able to take their legal knowledge and get a government job now. So I think that it's such a wide range of where people end up, and I think only a small percentage actually end up practicing independently, unfortunately, where I think we need more paralegals and we need more education to the public as to what paralegals can do, because I find the public still doesn't fully know what paralegals are and what we can do. I was talking to someone at the gym on the weekend and they're like, "Oh, a paralegal? Like, what do you mean a paralegal? Like a legal assistant?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I like we can represent in small claims court, the tribunals, like summary convictions up to 6 months. Like there's so much we can do and the public just doesn't know." So I think education is huge, and I think um, paralegals just need to educate more on what we can do. So I think that's a big issue, I think, in our community.
Now, what about from your perspective, Jeanette, as someone who's just finishing up, right? I mean, what are your peers doing? Especially again, as I said, in light of the fact that you're losing a tremendous support as an anchor, in terms of whatever resources Algonquin would have provided. Do you find that the same thing as what Amanda's saying, that there's not as many people actually planning on practicing? Do you know how many people are planning on even running the licensing exam? And has this whole mood changed now because the college is not planning on being around after the fall semester for the paralegals?
I think, yeah, I think it's tough. I mean, I don't think that this is unique to Ottawa, but paralegals, you go and you do your education and you practice somewhere for a period of time and you get a little bit of hands-on experience. And then maybe you get offered a job as a legal assistant where you're not working to scope. And then maybe, maybe a lawyer decides that they're going to hire you as a paralegal, but maybe not, so you're still just doing drafting and you're not practicing the way you could be. And I think it's not just the public that have a lack of understanding. I think it's the legal community. I think paralegals have a bit of a bad rap, and I've seen why, and that's sad. I think it's very sad. Um, because I've seen, I mean, any professional, really. I mean, you're going to see people that are, not behaving as they should be, essentially, or, not being professional. But that's also part of what we want to change with offering a proper mentee situation and a proper guidance so that people are not going out and looking for jobs places or representing themselves or their business or not representing their clients the way that they should be and not being the advocates that we are licensed by the LSO. We are held to the same regard that lawyers are. And we need to really appreciate the fact that that means something and not just like be proud of that, but like hold yourself accountable. Like, don't just do whatever you want because you think you're a legal professional. Like, it's not cool. You know, you're not doing anybody any favors. And I just really like to see the way that people look at paralegals, professionals, and community members in a different light. And I do believe that starts with education, but it also really, really starts with representing yourself as a professional. And I think unfortunately, that mark has been missed a little bit too often, sadly.
So what can be done there, Amanda, especially now with all of this coupled with now the tremendous blow with the loss of the paralegal program at Algonquin College. What can the Ottawa legal and Ottawa paralegal community do? I mean, what is the Ottawa paralegal community? Maybe you can sort of tell us. Like, I mean, I saw actually I had posted somebody in Ottawa was like, "Oh, you should come out here and connect with us." So, what's it like there, and what do you think can be done to kind of overcome, the future sort of loss of the college, which naturally drives people to the school for an event, a guest speaker, one of the organizations is bringing in paralegals or one of the, I'm sure, you've brought in colleagues and friends. So how do you kind of now work within that parameter to say, look, well, we still have an Ottawa community. I believe there's the CCLA
Yeah.
that has a paralegal member on there. I think that goes out to Ottawa, right? The Carlton
Yes.
Law or whatever. I don't know what the first C is, but um, maybe you could tell me a little bit more, Amanda.
I think just, promoting your events more, having more community, because we need to be more of a community. We need to, work together, I think, and, you
Yeah.
know, supporting each other. I think supporting each other is huge because the more we support each other, the better the community is, the more, business is going to be better for everybody. So, just I don't bringing in more events, I think, and just trying to get education out to the public and maybe even like lawyers and things like that to just, you know, to to have people fully understand what paralegals do and that we are a strong community of legal representatives. So to me, that's what's needed more.
Yeah, I think Jeanette, it is the county of Carleton. I had to double check
Yes,
there to make sure that I didn't say, I'm like, was there another C? I'm gonna
yeah.
forget the other, other
Yeah.
area there. But yes, I know they put on events and they've welcomed paralegals as well. And what else can be done there to kind of because I mean one of the things then that the two of you are partnering, which is great because it now gives the ability to bounce ideas back and discuss things. But a lot of paralegals end up starting their own practice, and then it creates further isolation, right? I mean, when I used to teach practice management, I'd have all the statistics that I could just recite off the top of my head. But because I remember like 41.5% is how many paralegals who are licensed are providing legal services, but the number of self sole proprietorships um, are quite high. And if those groups don't intersperse and connect, then you're often very isolated. And yes, there's services like the Coach and Advisor Network, there's the Practice Management Helpline, but it still doesn't sort of replace the community you would get from walking down the chambers and talking to another paralegal or a lawyer at the firm. So what do you think, Jeanette? What can else can be done there?
I think that people are doing that out of necessity. And I kind of thought I was going to answer this in the last question, and then I went off track about something else. But um, I think paralegals are working for themselves independently out of a need because you can't just get a job as a new paralegal, and then you can't get experience as a paralegal when you're working as a legal assistant, right? So, I mean, that creates a huge issue. But as far as creating community, I would love to be part of starting something that is exclusively, and maybe not exclusively, but like fundamentally, primarily for paralegals, and then like intermixing with the rest of the legal community as well. But like I don't think there's enough. I think that people get into competition with each other when we really need to be in community with one another and the benefits. I just I foresee the benefits for everyone.
Now, on that there, Amanda, with respect to what Jeanette just brought up, with sort of necessity, right? And I think obviously you have the benefit of how many years of students that have gone through. I mean, what can be done? Because I mean, this is one of the things that, in a variety of hats that I wear, that that 41.5% number, right, is like, why is it so low, right? I mean, I'm a lawyer, so I mean, if somebody told me law school, you have a 41.5% chance of once you're licensed to use your license, I would be like, well, that's $130,000 down the drain, right? If I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
But I mean, and as I tell students, right? I mean, that's only the people who've become licensed. Like, think about the people who've written the licensing exam and haven't passed, the people who've just not attempted the license exam and graduated, the people who haven't completed the third semester, the second semester, the fourth semester, right? So, I mean, the percentage of people that were in your class on day one is much lower. So, I mean, anything you can think of that can be done better to help build the profession that paralegals that are going all that way continue on.
I think honestly, it's the support. So once you graduate, it's like all this knowledge that you learn throughout your paralegal course, you now have to put that into practice, and it's a lot harder to do when you get into reality and actually have to put into practice all the stuff that you learned, which is why I think our mentee program is so good because they're able to work under us, work on files, and build up that confidence that they need. And I think that's missing because going out, graduating, getting your license, and then starting your own business all of a sudden, it's not just the legal stuff, it's the business stuff as well. So there's so many things you have to know, so many hats you have to wear that I think it's overwhelming for a lot of people. And if you don't have that drive and that like love for it, it just, oh, well, I got this job here. I'm just gonna take this job instead, even if it's not in a legal field at all. So I think more support's needed for these people that are, graduating, helping them do the licensing exam, which is not easy, and then supporting them afterwards. And I think that's missing from our community right now.
Anything on that there, Jeanette, as you kind of look forward, right? Is that do you find that there are, I mean, obviously you have your support being your partner at Justin Fair, right? But I mean, for
Yep.
others you may have had classes with, do you find that there's this disconnect between school finishes, you have the big convocation, likely, I mean, I don't know if yours is like kind of soon thereafter, and then people go off and prepare for the licensing exam, and then what, right? And then what do you do once
Yeah.
you pass, right? Do you know what the next step is on the grand plan to be a successful paralegal?
I think for a lot of people, it's you don't even necessarily stay in contact with the people that you go through this program with because that's what you had in common, you have the program. And then you don't have the program, you have whatever else you had going on in your life. And if you don't have something common at that point, then you might not even continue being in communication or have a community in any way. Algonquin's gone. So there goes that, community. So we need to create something.
Mhm.
There is something missing, and it does need to exist in order for paralegals to be able to graduate and feel supported and be successful in careers. And we really, really need it now. Ottawa is going to suffer. So if they don't get paralegals out of these last graduating classes that are working as paralegals, the community will suffer.
Now, Amanda, any insights there from, setting up that you didn't know about, running a business that you've learned quickly that's different, right, compared to obviously being a professor or work that you had done beforehand. Any sort of sage pieces of wisdom for anyone that's about to do the same thing?
Client management is so important. And managing people is not easy. So if you've never managed a person like people before, I think maybe taking some, you know, online courses or just because you need those referrals. So you find difficult clients, which can be hard to manage, but just learning how to manage people,
Mm.
learning how to keep them satisfied. And I mean, when you're genuine, clients know that. So I think, I mean, running my business, one of my strongest things is my client management skills. Because you need that. You need the client management to build a referral. You need those referrals. So it's a small community. People don't know what you do. You need people to refer you out to others. So um, yeah, for me, it's just building those client management skills. Other skills you'll learn. I mean, legal accounting, you're going to have to do some legal accounting, and you have a software system for that if you're not any good at it. But I don't know. Learning how to manage a client to me is top. You can read about any legal field in a book online,
Mm.
but managing people is a skill.
Jeanette, besides coding, what else have you picked up?
Well, that's my new latest and greatest skill. Um, I baked a cake last night that was very elaborate. So, there's all sorts of things going on all the time. But no, I'm super grateful to have paired up with someone who does the things that I don't do, who is good at the things that I am not necessarily good at, or that I need to learn or expand on. And that is what makes a great partnership. That is what makes a great community. You don't need people that are like you. You need people that have like minds and, the same type of like goals and aspirations. And then you build a team. And you can bring everything to that team if you have great players.
Perfect. So, Amanda and Janet, thank you so much for taking the time and joining me today. If you have any final words of wisdom, Amanda, that you'd like to leave the students and anyone else listening, thanks again.
Not too much, just, we really hope to bring this education aspect to paralegals as well. It's needed, in our opinion. And any paralegals that want to reach out with course material that they would like to see, we welcome any feedback as well on that. And we are super grateful that you had us on as well. So thank you so much.
And finally, Jeanette, you get to have the last word there.
Thank you so much, Jean Paul. It was lovely to sit with you tonight. And I know that you do a lot of things with the law in general, with the community, with access to justice. So I thank you so much for all those things. And I hope that we can work together or team up, build a little community of our own, and that we'll see you again soon.
Sounds good. Wish you both the best. Congratulations and all the best for Justin Fair going forward.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Thank you.